Let me ask you a few questions here. I'm kind of confused about this.
The sponsor.
We got those brilliant lawyers talking a minute ago, and they really got me confused. Currently under this bill, at this time under this bill, can an employer terminate a gun permit holder if he brings a gun on his property in this parking lot?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. So what are we doing here if we're still allowing them to terminate somebody? Well, what are we doing? I mean, it's kind of like, we passed an immigration bill a few years ago that prosecuted people, but didn't really prosecute people. We said that, unless you knowingly do it, when you put knowingly in there, it doesn't matter. So are we passing a bill that doesn't do anything?
We're setting public policy for the state of Tennessee that a permit holder will not be criminally pursued for having a gun at a place that's marked.
Okay, so that, I think that's confusion. I think of people back home and out there, and I think a lot of gun owners, the people who call to me, and I'm a life member of the NRA. I belong to. I don't agree with everything they do, but I support them. But I think a lot of those guys, people calling me, they think they're covered. They can now carry their gun on their in the parking lot, and they're going to be covered. But you're telling me that's not the case. They just can't be criminally pursued.
Representative, I say that we're setting a public policy, and I believe that the business community is going to adopt this public policy. Technically, according to this bill, can they still fire? Absolutely, but I will say this. There will be legislation filed. We'll come right back and say, hey, these people are acting in accordance with the law. And I'd also say this, if you fire someone for doing something legal, somebody's going to be paying unemployment. I mean, this isn't just you just go drop and fire somebody. We're setting a policy in the state of Tennessee that we recognize the value of what a permit holder has went through to do. They're good, honest citizens. They ought not to be fired for that. But in this state, we are an at-will state. So
I still have, and I know the business community has talked to some of you guys about this, and some of the people in the business community have signed off on this. And I think the reason some of them may have is because it gives them they can still terminate somebody if they choose for bringing a firearm in their parking lots, and that's the case, as you're telling me. I think some who do not want to put that ruse out there and still are not for this bill in any form or fashion, because it's property rights versus gun rights. That's what the debate's been, but we're really not talking about that. This debate's not about that, because you can still, property rights still going to trump Second Amendment rights if this bill passes as it is. Now Representative Wendell's amendment would have took care of that, but we voted that down. I did, and I voted for it, but the rest of you voted it down. Let me ask you another question. If a permit holder, I got two more questions and I'll stop. If a permit holder goes on a person's property, current law, that a business owner may be liable if somebody shoots somebody on his property. If a permit holder today shoots somebody on their property, on a business owner's property, after this bill passes, does the business owner have any responsibility and liability to, under the current law, to be sued if this bill passes?
Could you repeat the question? I apologize.
Currently, if I work at DuPont, let's say, or Avco or anybody, and I put in the parking lot, there's some responsibility that I'm certain protections that property owner is responsible for certain protections in that property. If I slip on a banana peel or something, I can sue him. All right, if you're in that parking lot and you shoot me, do I have still some rights to seek redress to the courts if that happens after this bill passes? Currently, I do. But if this bill passes, do I not do that? Have we taken all the liability away from business owner if this bill passes?
In a hypothetical such as you just described, the employer would probably be named in a lawsuit as a defendant if a lawsuit was brought. However, the plaintiff would have to prove that the employer was somehow negligent in their actions, whether it was for not supervising or some other way that the employer was negligent. They would probably be sued. This bill, in its civil exemption, would provide a defense to that employer and protection for that employer who did nothing wrong, simply followed the law and allowed firearms to be carried on the property. It would provide a defense and protection for that employer against that type of frivolous lawsuit where they did nothing wrong.
Representative Faison, could you answer my question? He's really got me confused now. All right, my last question. there are, how many permit holders do we have in Tennessee?
Just under 400,000.
We got 400,000. And we know occasionally there are incidents with our permit holders. Like there's 2,100 incidents already, about 16 I think led to death. But we extended this right, this second, I'm not sure it's the Second Amendment right because we still can fire somebody, but we've only extended this right to the permit holders. The other 6 million Tennesseans are not covered on this bill, right? Who don't have permit holders.
That's correct.
So the only people we're covering on this are the less than 400,000 out of 6 million Tennesseans that we all currently represent. Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.